Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining. We'll just give a few minutes before everybody joins. People are still joining in. So we'll start just in 3-4 minutes. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We will, I hope everybody's healthy, staying safely at home. The weather got nice these days, so lots of people go out and enjoy the weather a little bit. So we'll just dive right into our program tonight. We have an interesting presentation. Before that, just a quick introduction to AI Geeks for those who are joining us for the first time. The others probably already heard it multiple times. So at AI Geeks is a nonprofit organization. Our aim is to empower everybody to use the AI. Even if you are an expert in AI or newcomers, we are trying to provide you the tools to get started with AI. We are doing this by organizing events in person until 2 months ago and webinars these days, where we invite experts in the field, passionate experts in the field, to talk to us about their job and about their experience in the area so we can learn from them. We also organize hands-on webinars these days about Get Started with AI. We already organized two of them last year in person. Both of them were sold out. And we are now scheduling 2 more. One is on May 27th. So in less than a month, it's already available online. This will be Get Started with AI, Deep Learning 101. And the second one will be as a continuation to our program we have last week, which was very well received. And it will be with Mark Ryan, the author of Deep Learning with Structured Data, the book that's already available in e-format, and it will be also available as a book in a few months. And his presentation was pretty interesting. So we decided to make a hands-on experience out of it. The whole book is actually hands-on. And we'll have a webinar on June 17th. So in a bit over a month. For both of these events, about both events, you can find out more details on our website. And we would like to give you a coupon of 20% off. They already, both of them has a early bird discounted ticket, but even more, you can use AI Geeks 20 for a 20% off. You can see, as I said, more details on our website, aigeeks.org. Few stats about our nonprofit. We organized 32 conferences. This is our 22nd one. Our audience is split between Meetup and Eventbrite. We estimate over 5,000 people received our messages. We have 1,700 followers on LinkedIn and 1,500 subscribers on LinkedIn. We also have a Patreon page where we offer you free tickets, discounted tickets, access to premium videos, for example, the one from last week, and discounts from partners. We have a 10 seconds pitch as well, and other freebies. So you can find out more on patreon.com/AIGeeks. The schedule for today will be our feature presentation, Brisking AI, Exploiting AI Risks into Opportunities. Then we'll have a Q&A session, but feel free to send your questions even during the presentation. Our presenter might stop on the way at different points. And in the end, we'll have a raffle and we'll offer you 2 tickets, one for each of our hands-on presentation. About our presenter tonight, Afshan has a broad skill set around strategy, governance, and the risk management of innovative technologies, including artificial intelligence and robotics, process automation, cloud platforms with a focus on team management, product development, and C-suite stakeholders interactions. She's currently a senior consultant for artificial intelligence with Deloitte. So this is all from me. I would like to invite Afshan to start broadcasting and start her presentation for tonight.
Thank you, Dragos. I'm just going to start my presentation. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I'm going to start right away. Okay, so the topic about today is Brisking AI, exploiting AI risk into opportunities. Before I start, I wanted to quickly give you a brief background around why I wanted to talk about it. It's just that when it comes to AI, there have been so many misconceptions, so many failure stories, robot taking over the world, and all those things that are going around. It's not that they're not true, it's just that with all those stories, we are not able to explore and exploit the capabilities provided by AI. And the whole topic of discussion today is what can we do with those capabilities and how can we mitigate those risks by managing it to the maximum extent. So let me jump right to it. This is a brief agenda for the meeting. We have AI 101. It will be a couple of slides around what AI is, for a brief background around how it works, how it learns, AI failure stories, and then Brisking AI, a bit about regulatory landscape around it, and then a Q&A session. For AI 101, before I start, I wanted to know about our target audience, like what is the understanding they have around AI. So what I want you guys to do is log on to slido.com. So I sent the link in the chat before the event started. and then you would need to enter this event code 31290, and you should be able to see the question, what do you think is AI? Please, it's an open text response, so please feel free to add in any of the thoughts that you think is AI. I'm going to give you a minute for around this, and let me present my screen to see how, as we receive the answers. Okay, perfect. So it seems that everyone is correct. I like the point of view. It's going to make future interesting through tech like computerized system, intelligent decision, adaptable in the face of new problems. So I love your feedback. Thank you for providing your feedback, and it's actually future of work where humans and machines work together. It's awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, you guys are correct. Let me switch back to my presentation, and then we can start around what exactly is AI and a more 101. But yes, the responses that you guys provided, that pretty much makes sense, and that is the extension of what AI is. So to cut it short, AI is basically the ability of machine to mimic human behavior. Wikipedia defines AI as a system's ability to correctly interpret external data, to learn from such data, and to use those learnings to achieve specific goals and tasks through flexible adaptation. So this is basically the ability of machine to sense, comprehend, and act. And how it will be able to do it would be through, for example, for sense, it will be through computer vision, audio processing. For comprehension, it will be through NLP, NLG, knowledge representation, analytics, and things like that. So there are various technologies that help AI mimic human behavior, and some of the illustrative solutions are like virtual chatbots, or like identity analytics, recommendation systems, and things like that. So yeah, that's what AI is. There are various kinds of AI now. So there's artificial narrow intelligence and artificial general intelligence. ANI, or artificial narrow intelligence, it refers to a computer's ability to perform a single task extremely well, like beating AlphaGo world champions. So if you guys have not seen AlphaGo, an AI robot beat AlphaGo world champion, you guys should log on to YouTube and you should see it. It's unbelievable what AI can do, and another aspect of it is to see what will be the impacts on when AI is winning, what will be the mental and psychological impact on the world champions around it. So it's like when it's very interesting. So you should see, and that's where the ethical things would come in, ethical considerations would need to come in. And the other part would be artificial general intelligence, which would be to tell right from wrong, to be creative. So for example, I have AI is now able to paint, which is something that is not painting and the creative side, which is not controlled by logic. So if AI is able to paint, it's next to achieving what humans are able to do, and understand abstract concept, which is not a structured data. So these things and these considerations are give artificial general intelligence. Okay, sorry, I'm getting questions. So sorry, I'm going to quickly go through it. It seems that did experts really believe that Go was outside the realms of computers? Yes, they did. That's the thing. That's why it was so interesting. The video, when you see it, it's so interesting that initially they were a few, because AlphaGo is like way more difficult, is believed to be way more difficult in a strategic game than chess, and experts had they had the preconceived notion that since it's a strategic game, AlphaGo would not be able to beat a human. But when they did beat the world champions, it's considered a hallmark event for AI history. So you should go and watch the video. It's really interesting. So yeah, thank you. Moving on to the next slide. Oh, sorry, my system got stuck. Okay, so a very brief introduction of how AI neural network work. This excerpt is actually taken from Fortune magazine. It was published in October 2016. And how they taught it was, so the AI neural network is provided an input of, for example, a dog. So the input would be to say, okay, can you identify the dog? And then the neural network or machine learning model would be given a lot of training data, which would include like picture of an elephant, a cat, a rabbit, or like various things. So neural network is composed of a number of layers, and how it would work is the first layer would, for example, identify the simple characteristic of a dog, for example, shapes and edges and things. And the next layer would identify, okay, it has one feet, it has a nose, it has ears and things like that. And the next layer would be able to shortlist, okay, a dog should have 4 legs and it should have a tail and it should have 2 ears. So it can shortlist it to say a horse and a dog or a pig, and the output would then be like 90% of a dog and 10% of a wolf. So that's how it works, by the method of elimination. That's how a machine learning model learns. It gets the data, matches it to the input, and then eliminates it over different layers till it comes to the output product. And the best thing about it is it learns on its own. So that's why since it has the ability to learn on its own, that's why AI has those many capabilities and benefits. And so thank you. Moving on to the next one. Now that we know what AI is and what it can do, these are some of the use cases that we are seeing in industries, how they're using AI. For example, manufacturing is using it predictive maintenance or condition monitoring, demand forecasting. Retail is using it for predictive inventory planning, recommendation engines. Healthcare and life sciences, with this COVID-19, there have been a lot of, like, I was reading about it, that Johns Hopkins, they are using a myriad of data around x-rays for COVID patients, and based on those x-rays, a machine learning model is able to identify which patient has COVID and which does not have COVID. So this is how, and even for vaccine development, drug development, with the onset of COVID-19, AI has actually escalated. Then there's within financial services, there's risk analytics and regulation, customer segmentation. So there are various use cases. You should be able to get those slides. So feel free to reach out to me later on if you have any questions. The last slide in this section, I wanted to talk about, I'm pretty sure every other person would have seen this video. It's the Google Duplex, and it shows how a machine learning model or AI can can talk like a human and then book a haircut appointment. So it's a very short video. It's like a 1-minute video. So I'm going to play it for you. Sorry, just a second.
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like, what service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now? Okay, we have it 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's your first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks, great. Have a great day. Bye.
So what we just saw was a Google Duplex video demo.
Do you and your team need to work remotely? Open your free account at Monday.
So what we just saw was a Google Duplex video of presented by Google CEO. And it was a Google Duplex booking an appointment for a haircut. And what was really interesting is even during the call, so it was supposed to book an appointment for 10 a.m. and they did not have it available. So they were able to make a decision, check back the calendar, make a decision, okay, 12 a.m. works. So that's one part. The another part that was interesting is you may have observed how they were including the fillers, like she said, okay, hold on 1 second, like, and the Google Duplex was like, and which was very funny and interesting about how they can mimic human behavior. So that was about Google Duplex. We are now going to move on to our next section, which is challenges to AI adoption. So in this section, now that we know what AI is, what it can do, what are the use cases, how much value can it bring to the industries all over the world, and why are we not able to adopt AI the way we should be? What are the challenges to adoption of AI? So before we start, I want you guys to go back to slido.com, add back the same contact, code, and then the question is, what are the challenges to AI adoption? And I'm going to wait for like a minute, and then we can reconvene and see where we are. That's a very interesting point, and both the knowledge of implementation and getting the data. You're 100% right. We have lots of data. It's just that we don't have the right kind of data or the sanitized data that we can use for training machine learning models. For computation power, there can never be enough computation power. So you're right about that one as well. Current tech needs a lot of relevant data. Human brain is, I don't know if there is AI there yet. Do you think AI would be able to adapt to unpredictability? Yes. So I'm reading the last comment. It talks about human brain is unpredictable, and I don't know if AI is there yet. But do you think AI would be able to adapt to unpredictability? Yes, it should be able to adapt to unpredictability. Not there yet, but yeah. Because why I'm saying that is it's going to learn on a continuous basis, right? And if the human brain is unpredictable and we keep changing our prediction, the relevant machine learning model would come to, there would be a point when it will be synced with human brain and it will be able to adapt to unpredictability. So yeah. So thank you so much for all your responses. I'm going to switch back to our slides and sections. So this was a survey conducted by O'Reilly in which they talked about main challenges to AI adoption. It was focused within North America. And the company C-suite executives were basically interviewed for these questions. And as you can see, all of your answers correspond to what are the main challenges for AI adoption. The company culture does not recognize the need, lack of data. I know 90% of our responses, they revolve around data and data quality issues. Then there was a number of responses around skilled people and how do we implement it, identifying appropriate business cases, legal concerns. So thank you for that. It pretty much corresponds with what the point of view of the main C-suite executives were as well. What we need to do is there are basically two challenges for AI adoption. One is how you mentioned data. There was challenge of skill sets. There was challenge of not being able to apply or implement AI and computation power and things like that. And the other part are the failure stories of how AI has gone wrong. And what happens when machines go rogue. So I collected some of the publicly available failure stories like AI Goldman Sachs. So Apple Goldman Sachs. So what Apple did, they collaborated with Goldman Sachs and developed a credit card. And what happened was the machine learning algorithm was developed to improve the credit limits based on a person's credit history, their income, and all these things, all the relevant requirements. But what was seen was the way it was improving. Women were getting way less credit limits on their credit cards as compared to men. So it was unintentionally cementing our decades of gender bias that women either earn less or they have less, not to start any argument around it, but that's what was reflected in the decisions that was made by machine learning model. The very same thing was about Amazon recruitment tool. They were as part of their internal project, they were using AI to vet job applicants, and which was consistently downgrading female candidates. So this all unfortunately also perpetuated our negative biases towards women in tech. Another thing was Microsoft they released and trained a bot called Tay, which was given a personality of a 19-year-old girl, and she, after a couple of weeks, she turned into an AI monster because people started, when it's an AI, they started messing with her. And in a couple of weeks, she began tweeting very racist, sexist, and homophobic comments. And they had to take it down, of course. So another example is Hong Kong real estate tycoon. They acquired a K1 AI system to help them. It was an automated platform for investment. But instead of that, what it did was it regularly lost up to $20 million on a daily basis, and they ended up suing the fintech service. So these are there are like million stories. Let me show you another slide. It's the timeline of news events for just 1 year, and these are various stories like Tesla autopilot fatal car crash that ended up killing a pedestrian, class action lawsuit against Facebook discrimination against older workers, Cambridge Analytica was revealed, and IBM and NYPD did a partnership for facial recognition software, which was biased as well for a certain community. So there are this is just a timeline for 1 year, and you can see how many stories that pop up all along the year for Breaking Bad unfolding before our eyes. So now this was basically the last slide for our challenges to AI adoption. So we discussed what is AI, what are the capabilities it can do, what are the benefits it can bring to companies all over the world. Then we discussed the challenges to AI adoption, and we also discussed the other challenges, which are the failure stories that keep coming up. So we say that AI can do so many things, but on the other hand, we also say that AI can create reputational risk, or it can give us like millions of dollars of loss and things like that, right? So our next section is around de-risking AI. This section is going to tell us how we can identify and manage those risks, and how we can exploit the actual advantages of AI and demystify the myths behind AI. So AI is basically looking in the mirror. It reflects our own human emotions. So these are some of the scripts of the various stories, like robots evolve the ability to deceive, unethical AI, artificial intelligence can be sexist and racist just like humans, rise of the race. So there are a lot of those stories that are coming up around AI, and it's why is that so? Because it's just mirroring human values and amplifying the bias that is embedded in our society. So the real risks of AI aren't those of super intelligence machines taking over. The real risk will come from machines that are not smart enough to handle the responsibilities that humans have given them. Because what AI does, it is a mirror of human values. If there's bias, if there's racism, if there's sexism embedded in our culture, it is going to be mirrored in a machine learning model. AI is just an externalized human thought process, and it magnifies human bias. Okay, so this is a very funny question. You guys are gonna like it. So this is, we were talking about looking into AI mirror, and we were talking about how AI reflects what human society or human values actually are. So if you look in the mirror and see dirt, what should you do? So this is a multiple choice question. And I want to see your responses around it. Sorry, let me start the poll. And okay. So, it's the same. You would need to log on to Slido, and you would need to add the code 31290. Oh, interesting. We are going to start an anti-mirror campaign. Okay, that's funny. So we had the option of if we see dirt in the mirror, what should we do? So mirror was reflected of AI mirror. So are we going to break the mirror, like break AI? Are we going to start an anti-mirror campaign or anti-AI campaign for that matter? And are we going to accept what mirror shows us inevitable, like what AI shows us inevitable, like the bias and various risks that are embedded in our human society? Or are we showing to try cleaning up? So 85% of our majority, as you can see on the screen, we believe in cleaning up the dirt, which is the risks and the bias and for the lack of better word, failure stories that are already embedded in our culture. So thank you so much. This was a very interesting response. I'm going to move back to our slides. So as we agreed, based on our poll, that we are not going to break the mirror. We are not going to start an anti-AI campaign. We are not going to, what was the third option? We are not going to accept what AI is giving us, like all this bias. We are going to identify those risks and manage those risks. That being said, I'm going to talk about, sorry. Okay. Sorry, my system keeps getting stuck. So that being said, I'm going to highlight the AI specific risks. When it comes to risk management, I'm pretty sure a number of you would already be from this field. There are standard risks that are embedded in each system. So I'm not going to talk about the standard software SDLC risk or other program management risk or entity level risk. I'm only going to focus on AI specific risk. So there are algorithmic risk, which could be algorithmic inaccuracy, algorithmic feedback. Then there's risk around data, which is a huge risk. It could be data bias, so that data is not cleansed of bias. It could be data privacy. So there are myriad of regulations around data privacy that, for example, in Canada, it's OPC, EU is GDPR. So there are huge privacy concerns when it comes to use of data from a training machine learning model. Then there's data security, like, data loss prevention, and how do you protect the data and how do you protect the access of data. Then there's bias. So bias could be in the data or in the machine learning model, and how do we identify that bias? How do we quantify that bias? Then, then there's a concept of bias, like having an acceptable bias. So for example, in Canada, if you cannot have bias by age, but for insurance industry, if you are a driver, a young driver, it just goes without saying that your insurance premium would be high. But if you're like a driver with 10 years or over of experience, your insurance premium would be low. So there, in the insurance industry, this kind of bias is accepted. So we call those kind of biases acceptable bias. The very same, then it comes to regulatory, what are the changing regulatory environment? So something very interesting is there is GDPR is the only regulation that has a huge section on AI. Other than that, a lot of regulations are still being updated. Regulatory bodies are very quiet. In US, they have given some statements, but in Canada, they're still working on developing it. So the companies in Canada, they are a bit reluctant and hesitant towards adopting AI technologies because of the regulatory uncertainty. Then there is a concept of accountability, which is, for example, if the driverless car it goes and hit a pedestrian, who is accountable for it making the decision? Was it the passenger? Is it the machine learning model who went ahead and hit the pedestrian? Or are we going to blame Tesla for that? So lack of ownership in decision-making process by machine learning model, that's another concern. And then there's explainability. So a number of our regulators, they want explainability in machine learning model. They want to know if the machine learning model is making the decision, what are the parameters and what are the steps that it took to be able to come to that decision. For example, if I got a mortgage approval, what were the considerations that were made before I got the approval? So when it comes to deep neural network, that's another kind of machine learning models. They have this concept called black box conundrum, in which the concept is that the decision-making process of the machine learning model cannot be explained. How it makes a decision, it's a black box for humans as of now. So that's another reason that companies are a bit reluctant in using deep learning models, which provides a lot of value because they are not able to understand how the machine learning model is making the decision. So these were some of the risks that we talked about. Now, what do we do? Now we know the benefits, we know the risks. What should we do as humanity? What is the call to action? So AI or robot overlords are not coming to choose our future for us. It's on us to get it right and to decide what right looks like. It's going to boil down to the concept of AI mirror. It's up to us with how we see it and whether we like it or not. So in that case, we need to keep into consideration a certain actions that we need to take as a society, and the companies or the tech leaders who are adopting AI in order to make it right. So one is invest in human AI partnerships. So if there is a AI which is making decision, there always needs to be a supervisory body from human in order to approve the decision. It should not be applicable in all cases, because if the decision is not really making an impact, that's fine if the AI is making that, but other than that, human always needs to be in the loop. Then we need to plan for future failure. You cannot assume that AI is all magic bullet and is going to deliver, make all our dreams come true. We cannot do that. We have to plan for a future. We have to anticipate that there are going to be failures. There are going to be dangerous AIs, and we need to build in the safety margins for break and failures. Then we have to ask the right questions, like which human values would the system affect? Is it something, for example, if it is something like, Netflix recommendation engine, based on how we watch our shows, it recommends, okay, this show is you would like, or this show would not be like. That's not really going to be of much impact as compared to using AI, for example, for nuclear weapons and using it for autonomous drones going and killing people. So we have to ask the right question, and then based on those questions, we have to identify the risk and mitigate the harm. Then there's design AI for human values. So it's called ethics by design. So you need to embed ethics. You need to embed human values within machine learning models right at the inception. This is not something that we can fix later on. And then manage AI risk. So we have to have validation policies, we have to have audits, we have to have a structure, and a huge part would need to be played by regulatory bodies for making, for managing those AI risks, like making or enforcing the companies who are tech leaders or who are adopting AI to identify those risks and then mitigate it or at least manage it to the acceptable level. So yeah, that was all from my side. I'm going to take the question answers now. Are you concerned with natural language processing for security purposes where banks are using voice recognition to verify our information over the phone? Deepfakes are already a concern. This could be a base for eroding trust. Lee, that is a very good question. And there have been a number of concerns around voice biometrics. We call that technology for use of NLP for authentication. So there have been a number of concerns around use of voice biometrics. There are a number of fraud concerns specifically when it comes to banks. For now, there is no regulation around it, but there have been a number of developments that, like you mentioned, deepfakes, that are able to identify both for voice and video. There have been a number of softwares and a number of technologies that are able to identify both voice and videos to determine whether the calling the calling voice and the person who is, or the voice biometric and the person who is calling is the same or not. Okay. So moving on to, I hope that answers your question. Excuse me. Moving on to the next one, you mentioned that lack of AI awareness in a company is the largest challenge of AI adoption. Are these failure stories a result of technical issues, data issues, or lack of company awareness? Okay, so this is actually, yes, these failure stories are a result of either of the three things that you have called out. It could be technical issues. So when it comes to technical issues, for example, it could be when, for example, Apple, Goldman Sachs, we still don't know we still don't know in their machine learning model, where did it go wrong? It was not either, and by we, I mean, it was not made public. And so was it something that their data was biased, that they used to develop the machine learning model? Was it the issue that the machine learning model was not, their parameters were not fixed to remove the bias or identify the bias within the machine learning model? Or was it because people didn't know that they needed to do the testing, which is the lack of company awareness? So it could be either of the issues that you have already called out for. So hope that answers your question. So that's the reason that we need to work from, we have to have all hands on deck to be able to exploit AI. Aisha, what resources would you recommend for someone just getting started with AI? So you should start from a number of Coursera courses. That's how I started. There are a number of, so Andrew Ng, he has AI for Everyone. That was my first course. He is the founder of deep learning, and he's unbelievable. He teaches AI in such a way that a starter and a dumb person like me was able to understand, and then you can go from there where you want. Then there are a number of, you can find Coursera, Udemy. There are a number of resources available online around ethical AI, IBM, Microsoft, Google. They have published their own frameworks. So yeah, that should be your starting point. Lee, speaking of black boxes, I find it interesting that people want to make AI more accountable when we cannot deal with the current black boxes. Obviously, we should reduce the harm, but I don't think AI can fix historical wrongs. Oh yes, AI cannot fix historical wrongs. You're 100% right. AI cannot fix historical wrongs, but what we can do is fix our future. And when it comes to black boxes, I completely agree with you when you say that we cannot make black boxes accountable. We cannot. There's no technology for that as of now. So kind of risk mitigation strategy around those is don't use deep learning for the kind of decision making which you cannot explain. So in that case, you can use like other machine learning models, not the deep learning models, which we cannot explain as of now. Hopefully sometime down the line, we do have an answer for that, but yeah. Taha, I was interested in business strategy as well. How do you get to your position? So I had a business background, and you need to have either you can have the technical skill sets and then move to functional side, or you can have the functional skill sets and move to technical side. It's just that in order to be I just feel in order to be successful in AI, you need to have both parts, because AI is not as simple as software development. So in order to get into business strategy, you might want to start with some of the business courses, and then maybe change your role to try getting experience in or change your projects to the one that you want to work in, like maybe more on functional side. Hope that answers your question. Ruben, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Can you do a risk value analysis to measure the risk of implementing an AI project versus the potential cost of failures? It's great that you brought that up, Ruben. It was so there are a number of resources available. Government of Canada, they published algorithmic AI risk algorithmic AI risk model. So what it does is you're able to assess algorithmic risk based on those. So it's more of a question answering template, and it gives you an idea about it's algorithmic impact assessment. So it's AIA. You can search on it online on Google, and you should be able to see the link to that. So it could give you an impact that your machine learning algorithm or machine learning model is going to make, and it can sort of help you with the risk analysis. So that's one. Other than that, there are various bodies that are working on it. So there's another organization called AI Global. It's a nonprofit organization, and it's working on developing AI Trust Index and AI certification around it. So they have actually published, I think they published this last week, AI Trust Index. And what it does, it gives, you put in the questions of AI, you put in what are the various variables, like, okay, what are you going to use? What is the machine learning model going to be used for? What are the impacts of that machine learning model? Is it going to be to have an impact on humans? Is it customer facing and things like that? So it asks you a lot of questions, and based on that, it gives you a trust index, AI trust index, like how much can you trust that machine learning model. So that trust index is also published, so feel free to go on AI Global's website and try it out. Ilango, I apologize again if I'm not pronouncing your name right. I really liked your metaphor of AI as a mirror of social issues. Do you know of any efforts to create a regulatory framework to ensure principles you outlined are indeed implemented? So regulators are actually working on developing frameworks around how do we identify. So those social issues that are reflected in AI are like bias, or lack of transparency, lack of accountability, and so for those kind of risks, regulators are actually working on developing frameworks to quantify those issues and those risks and to mitigate those. But there have not, GDPR has some things around data privacy and protection and concerns, but we have a long way to go. Amit, most of the AI is used for automation, and challenges are due to misunderstanding of what AI actually is and what it is thought to do. When talking about issues of biases and its effect, we are mostly concerned about social welfare sector. No, excuse me. So biases is not just around social welfare sector. Bias could be something that we just talked about. For example, Apple Goldman Sachs credit card, which was approving way lower limit for women, credit limit for women as compared to that of men. So that is gender bias. So bias is something that is going to impact all sections and however we use it, unless we quantify and mitigate. Taha, what do you think can be the legal implications of knowing a model is never 100% accurate? Oh, there are never 100% accurate models. You can never be 100% sure for machine learning models. So there are going to be, that's one of the, and it's good that you brought that up there, that is one of the reasons that specifically, highly regulated sectors like healthcare or financial industry, they are very reluctant in implementing machine learning models for something that may have legal implications. So yes, and that is the reason, like how we just talk about for Apple Goldman Sachs, the regulators are investigating it, investigating the gender bias that was in their machine learning model. So there are going to be legal implications till we figure it out. Sumera, being in marketing and communication field and working with social media analytics, I'm seeing a variant of AI. How far do you think AI will go when it comes to marketing and communications? So there is already a huge marketing analytics part that is in place. That can be in the form of customer segmentation, right? If you're targeting a certain kind of a product to a certain kind of target market, you're able to segment it based on the analytics that you already have. For social media, you talked about social media analytics, so it's a publicly available information, so I can disclose it. So Costco, they filter out the tweets and they filter out the feeds on our Facebook to identify how many people went to Costco, and you know how they have free food stands and everything, and what information, like if I went there and I went to Costco and came back and I posted on my Facebook saying, oh, I went to Costco and I love their hot dogs, they are going to identify that feed, filter it, and then that's how they push it to their free marketers that, okay, hot dogs are way in demand, it's summer, so ice creams are way in demand, maybe have this and free stalls and things like that. So there are lots of use cases that are already coming up. Another use case, Cambridge Analytica, that Facebook was actually sued for that. So maybe you can go look that up. There was a huge concern around it. So apparently what they did was they used Cambridge Analytica as a third-party body, and they did a poll on Facebook around 2016 elections about who is going to win. Since they were using Facebook platform for that, it ended up, Facebook ended up getting sued for that. So yeah, that was a huge scandal around it. So maybe you can go look that up. So, but there are lots of impacts of AI in marketing and communication. Paul, what is your opinion about of what kind of AI business is profitable to break into for a new startup? So it depends. It's not a kind of AI business. It's about what kind of value that your startup is going to bring. You can start up with something of a fintech. You can start up with something of biotech, or So these are the two that are coming up a lot, like financial institutions and health. But it depends on what kind of value that you're bringing, right? So it's very difficult to say which one would be profitable. Anything that you invest in and it shows value, irrespective of which field it is in, it should work. Maruti, do you see mechanical engineering and AI being able to solve problems together outside of self-driving cars? So for in a number of factories, there are a number of use cases that are coming up where mechanics, IoT, and AI, where we are seeing a triangle of mechanics, IoT, and AI. And what it shows us how, for mechanical engineering, what kind of efficiency that the machine learning model is able to determine what are the efficiencies that mechanical engineering can bring in by various designs, and how AI machine learning model is able to determine that, predict it for you. And then the IoT part comes in, where it is able to provide maintenance on a real-time basis. So digital twins of factories are being made. So there are a number of use cases for that are coming up for mechanical engineering and AI. Lee, we are in a position where AI could be making decisions regarding who should live and die during a car malfunction, causing it to crash into a group of people. Does that give you the creeps too? Yes, yes, it does. And that's why we need to, there is another argument around that. It does give me the creep, of course, but the capabilities, and that's why we need to identify and mitigate those risks, manage those risks. But the capabilities that are provided by the AI, right, is that a human, so if the AI system is centralized for all self-driving cars, right? If human drives for 10,000 hours, that person would be an expert driver. So since the AI system is centralized, even if I'm driving my self-driving car for the first time, it does have the experience of the other drivers who use the same car, because it's logging on to the same system. So it is way experienced than that of a normal human. So that's another argument that people give for autonomous cars. But yes, it is very scary. Okay, I think we are at the end of the session. Dragos, I'm going to give back the control to you, or you can take back the control. And thank you so much. You should be getting the deck, and if you want to get in touch, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, and happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Afshan. Very interesting presentation about starting with what is AI, what are the benefits, but also what are the risks. As we've seen in the previous meetings, the most interesting thing is happening actually after the presentation is finished, when people ask questions about exactly what they are interested in, and the answers were amazing. So thank you again, Afshan, for coming tonight. As she said, we'll have the recording of the presentation and the deck in case you want to watch it or read it again. We'll have more information on our LinkedIn page, AI Geeks LinkedIn page. Just a few minutes we have of our program tonight. We have a raffle. I want to remind you about our two programs, Get Started with AI and deep learning with structured data that will happen in a month and a bit. I would like to thank those people who chose to pay for today's program. I'd like to read their names: Alka, Kathy, Cedric, Marnie, Michael, Monica, P. Fang, and Taha H. Thank you very much. And we'll have now the raffle for these people, these generous people. So we have 2 tickets for one for each of the program at your choice, the programs that I was just saying. So we'll use a Google random generating numbers. So how it works, as soon as I make a change, so let me make a few changes. Okay, let me delete, and then I'll sort. After the sort, the numbers change again, so they might not look at the same order. But anyway, so I'll read the names. If you see your name in the first batch, just send me a message on LinkedIn. We notice sometimes the first people are not there. So even if you are in the first 4 or 5, send me a message and I can give you a coupon. Of course, some people might not be interested, but still send me a message and then I'll let you know if you are the winner. So the first one would be P. Fang, Michael H., then Cedric, Marnie, and Monica. And if you find your names here, send me a message and hopefully we can provide you with a free ticket. That's about all for tonight. Thank you all for joining, and especially thank you to Afshan for the nice presentation. For a while, we'll have meetings every week. So we are inviting you next week at the same time. See more details on our website. And I hope you keep safe and healthy and enjoy the bit of nice weather any way you can, keeping a distance, of course. Have a good night.
So you want to be a software engineer at Google? Go to algoexpert.io. Pick a question.